They won the principal roles and they are already taken. They're taken. There's no thing you can do. There's no lies you can spew. Hello, everyone. This is Mihaela with Art of Experiencing. Today, we are going to take a look at my interpretation of breaking news of the week. Finally, everybody was holding their breath for so long, waiting to see if the Duke and the Duchess of Sussex are going to partake in the coronation of King Charles and Queen Camilla. Finally, having waited for such a long time, because that's the only way they know how to create suspense. They don't have anything else merited. They don't have any talent. They don't have any work they've done. The only way they know how to do it is to not respond by the time that everybody else is responding to the invitation that was sent to them some time ago. They could not say, yes, we're attending. They could not say no. The B-lister, Meghan Markle, going back to acting, do not put her in the same category with an actress, because she is not an actress. And I will prove that again in this episode. They were waiting to see what their roles were going to be during the coronation ceremonies. As soon as they found out that Meghan was going to be the understudy, in my opinion, and so is Harry, they were sent the invitation, but their roles were going to be the roles of the understudies. The understudy is a person who trains for the main characters, for the main roles. God forbid, in case something happens to those main characters where they could not perform in their glory, in the spotlight, the understudies come in. Well, when Meghan Markle heard that she was going to be in the role of an understudy and her children were going to be in the roles of understudy, she decided she was not going to go to the coronation. Can you believe how difficult of a choice it must have been for her to not go? Because we know how much she likes to be in the spotlight. We know how much she has to show people how extraordinary she is. Then when she realized, no, that's not going to be the case. I'm not going to be shown the red carpet to walk on. I'm not going to be on the royal balcony with the rest of the royal family. I'm not going to be seated in the first seat where all the cameras are going to be on me. I think I'll find an excuse, and that is going to be, I'm going to be a loving mother, and I am going to pass the coronation. We don't care about such a ceremony that goes back so many years, that only happens once in a lifetime of a human being who is healthy enough to live for so long, to be able to experience such an extraordinary traditional ritual. No. You go, Harry, because we still have to keep the proximity. We still have to keep the link with the royals. We do not want to detach ourselves from the royals, because in her soul and in her heart, she knows she doesn't have anything to stand on her own, by herself. She doesn't have that. Imagine if she were an amazing actress, as she thinks she is. Imagine if she would have that to own, to take ownership of, and she would have walked on, taken her princess and prince with her. Already she got what she wanted halfway, when you really think about it. Buckingham Palace put out the announcement: the Duke of Sussex will be attending the coronation, the Duchess of Sussex and Princess Lilibet and Prince Archie will stay back in Montecito, California. They will not attend. Already, she has put herself in the circle of the A-listers. The A-listers in this case being the royal family. So she was already to do that when it doesn't make any sense that she would title her children princess and prince, because they do not live in England. They have decided a long time ago they don't want to have anything to do with the royals. Not only have they decided they want nothing to do with the royals, but they do not stand for anything the royals stand for. If I were to analyze them as characters in a play, in a film, those were the decisions. Those were the very direct and very clear choices they made. Then what would the character do next? Would you ever think that the characters, their characters, would then say, we want nothing to do with the royals. We want nothing. I don't want to curtsy in front of anybody. I don't want to curtsy in front of Princess Catherine. I don't want to curtsy in front of the king. I don't want to bow down. That is a very difficult thing to do for somebody who doesn't have any kind of merit on their own. If you have merited something of essence that you have done, going back to A Doll's House, my last episode that I talk about with Jessica Chastain on Broadway, the most brilliant theatrical experience I have seen in a very long time. Jessica Chastain, who's had a career over 20 years, when she was done with the show, she comes for the curtain call. She doesn't jump up and down to smile. She doesn't have any kind of expression within herself to let us know, the audience, oh, I've done such a brilliant job. I am extraordinary. Even though she merited, she could have done that because she merited to do that. She didn't do that. When the curtain call happened, she comes out, she stands, being humble, places her right hand on her heart, and she bows. She bows to the audience. She bows to us, the spectators, because she knows she got where she got to with a lot of hard work, a lot of hard training as an actress, but also because she's dependent on the people watching the show. If nobody was in the audience in the theater on Broadway, she could have been the most brilliant Nora, the character's name, in A Dollhouse. But if she doesn't have the people to watch, she doesn't share that talent. She doesn't share that beautiful, detailed, specific work that she was able to come up with, of course, together with the whole team, the director, the other actors. She places her hand on her heart. She takes a very humble bow, raises her head, face remains without any kind of, oh, I know I'm great. Look at me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let me take a bow. Let me do a Meghan Markle bow and show you how irrelevant you, the audience members, are. She knows that she depends on the audience to be able to show that work in its brilliance, because if not, it would not be seen by anyone. And she would not be Jessica Chastain, the movie star, the theater actress who's brilliant. Meghan Markle, Prince Harry don't know that because they have not trained to do anything. That's why it gets me really upset when somebody says Meghan Markle is an actress or Prince Harry is trying to convince us that due to the fact that she's an actress, when she came to England, when they first met, everybody was envious of her. Princess Catherine was envious of her. Prince William was envious of her because she was the actress. She was the actress. She was never the actress. She was always the understudy. And that's what she could not put up with. She could not put up with because she is not about acting. An understudy will be grateful to have that role. And even if you never get a chance to show your craft and to show your work, the fact that you were able to be in the rehearsal process and to work on a character is already sufficient for great actors. That work on a character will inform, will make you grow as a person. It will inform you how to be a complex human being, how to behave towards others. It will inform you that if you make bad choices, there are big consequences. And if you really believe in those choices that you make as an actor, the consequences, then you have to take responsibility for. And you have to not retract from them, the same way that Meghan and Harry are doing right now. It was okay for them to come on the other side of the ocean, to be able to diminish the family. I'm not going to go into all of them because everybody's talked about them. Then when the time came for her to actually come into the world for the first time after Spare, the book was written where all the members in the family were diminished. In the Netflix series that went on for I don't know how many episodes, where she talks about her being a victim, she talks about the way that she was mistreated by the royal family members. Well, if you really believe that, if you really believe all of that you have said, if you really believe that, if you truly believe that, as an actor playing that role, you would then have to stand on that stage. You would have to stand in front of that audience as the character and confront the characters after you have done all the wrong towards them. That is what takes courage. That is what takes bravery. I stand for something, even when it's not favorable to me. If I'm going to stand for something, if I'm going to believe in something, if I'm going to go out of my way to make that public, the time comes when you have the opportunity to stand by your husband, Prince Harry, and to respect and to say yes to the invitation to the coronation of the king. Go out with shoulders back, firm in your belief that everything that you've said up to now for the last 3 years, you believe. The fact that she's retracting, the fact that she's coming up with a crazy excuse, she is going to pass the coronation. She's so much better than the coronation because she's going to be a great mother by staying home with Prince Archie. It's not that she's going to stay home with Archie. It's not that she's going to stay home with Lilibet. She's going to stay home for the 4th birthday of Prince Archie, and she's going to stay with her daughter, Princess Lilibet. How are you trying to make us believe that what you say is what you mean? Doesn't make any sense. We're not stupid. Majority of us are not stupid to believe that. So it doesn't make any sense. And especially now, to take that step back because she is so fearful of standing somewhere in this whole act of the coronation in the blessed robe behind the curtain, because that's where the understudies are. The understudies wait backstage in case, God forbid, something happens to the main Rose in this act. She can never do that. She can never do that because she always thought that she was going to go in, she was going to snatch Prince Harry, which you have to give a lot that she was able to do that, snatch him, marry him, have 2 children, and all of a sudden the director of the royal family, the person in charge of organizing the coronation, is going to go to Princess Catherine and to Prince William, who's going to be the next king after his father, King Charles, take them down, put them to the side. That's not happening. But in their delusional mind, in their contradictory behavior, they keep hanging on to all these lies they tell. They believe that if they tell them to us over and over again, we're going to believe them. No matter how much we can see their actions are completely the opposite of what it is that they're saying. I was doing a class the other day, an acting class. I was working with actors, and I was reminded again, the most difficult thing for actors playing characters, this is not even in real life, this is in a fictional play we were working on. Actors, one after another in scenes or in monologues, they come on stage, all of them, including me when I get to act, are having a difficult time standing in our power, standing on the stage, believing that we belong there without doing any kind of fidgeting, without doing any kind of retraction, without hiding, without turning away from the character that you're playing with, without backing up, without making steps on stage, with no justification. If you are an actor portraying a character, even in that situation, which again is not real life, if you're making decisions, if you're telling stories, in which stories you say you don't believe in the royal family, you don't believe in the way that they behave toward you, you have nothing to do with them, you're an independent woman, you're an independent man, you're charismatic on your own. If you make those statements as a character, you still have to continue the show and you have to deal with those consequences. You have to deal with that, which is what you said to yourself in a monologue, and see how that is going to be taken when the other character comes on stage and confronts you about it, and maybe asks you questions about it. And maybe it will take you off of your imaginary pedestal in believing that you are already the principal role, and they will remind you that you should not be on stage, you should be the understudy, but you will have to be confronted. The confrontation is the scary part. The fact that you go for it and you're putting yourself on that stage, you stand without retracting any of the things you have said, will gain you the popularity, will gain you the public's applause. They will applaud you for it. They will be able to see an individual, a character, who stands with what the decisions he or she made and is confident in those choices, in those decisions. They're not afraid to have then the interaction with the other characters and explain to them that's what they believe in. These two, my belief, they know they've lied through their teeth about everything they've ever said. They've lied about where they believe themselves to be in the status of the royal family. So they're hanging on to the titles. They're bringing on more titles for their children to be able to have a cover, a facade to the underneath talentless characters that they are. Of course, she's not going to show up. She was probably consumed. The conversations that went on between the two of them, I can only imagine. The fact that she was not deciding to go, being that she is the narcissist and the manipulative character that she is, must have been such a hard decision. So that means that her fear of being rejected by the British public, the fact that she was going to be put somewhere to sit with her prince, Harry, in the back, where she was not going to be the working actress, but she was going to be the understudy, she cannot take that. It is difficult when you don't believe in something. It is difficult when you tell lies for so long about the other characters, to then confront those characters. And when they tell you, walking into your role, let's say, we're not ready for you, you're still the understudy, go and sit in the back row, take your husband and tell him what it means to be an understudy. We'll talk to you after the celebration of the coronation, after all the parties, after all the ceremonies. She could not stand to be seen by the public. She could not stand to be put as an understudy. In her mind, the way that she's operated before she met Prince Harry, to when she met him and after, the way she's behaving, the way that she's walking about, is with that attitude of her trying to convince herself she's always wanting to be the principal role, even when nobody gave her that principal role. Even her best friend, the godfather to Lilibet, Princess Lilibet, Tyler Perry, who is one of their supporters. He was the godfather at the christening of Lilibet. With all his power, with all his production company power, He did not give her the role that she's wanted. No matter how much you want to support her, when it comes to her being an actress, she's not an actress. If a friend who has the opportunity to put her in something doesn't even do that because he also deep down knows that she will not be able to do it justice, the project he would put her in would be a failure because she is not an actress. The reason why I say she's not an actress and she hasn't done the work is because, in my belief, being a great actress teaches you how to be a great person. You cannot portray a character and have it be a success being rude. If you portray your character as being rude, if you portray your character as being annoying, if you portray your character as being a victim, no one wants to see you as a character. People, smart audiences, and I'm talking to the smart audiences, I'm not talking to the ones who don't understand, and they applaud that mediocrity of one characteristic in a character. They don't want to see one-dimensional characters being portrayed. If you are smart enough, if you are human enough, you will watch them and you will say, something is not clicking with me. I don't identify. I can't, there's no reflection onto me when watching them, because I cannot be just a victim. I cannot be just an annoying person. I cannot just be a rude person. I also have great qualities. I might do all of those things sometimes because we all have flaws, which is part of our humanness. But we also have kindness. We also have empathy. We also take responsibility for what we do and say. So if they don't want to do any of that in real life, that tells me that she was never trained as an actress, because in that training, she would have been able to understand, to be a full human being, to get people to look at you and to admire you and to say, bravo, you're amazing, Meghan, bravo, you're amazing, Prince Harry, has to do with much more than just playing the victim and being rude. Taking your role when the role is given to you in a situation such as the coronation, where not everything is going to be about you. The coronation is not about you. The coronation is not about the family. It is not about that. Can you put yourself to the side and be satisfied with giving the spotlight, the limelight, to the main characters? Maybe if you would be able to do that, still know that you have something to stand in, take ownership of that, because you really believe that you are truly a decent human being, then you wouldn't care so much that you are being now cast in the roles of the understudies. They cannot do that. They have nothing to ground themselves in because there's nothing there. You know, this is so crazy because I talk about sometimes with my students, you know, method acting usually is about working from the inside out, but sometimes it can be working from the outside in. So I was watching some of the things that were being shown on different shows on different platforms. And every time you see them together, when they come out to attend some event, the grasp of her hand with both hands to the hand of Prince Harry, him, which I've never noticed before, is always holding her hand instead of just holding or grabbing back her claw. He always is so careful to look down in the way that he holds her hand when they're walking, so she's not to fall. She's not grounded even physically on her feet. Physically, she's not grounded. I don't know why anybody would be so eager and so dependent on that other person's hand grasp to be able to walk. But I think Prince Harry has been already trained, having done it for such a long time with her. He is so attentive to the way that he grabs her hand and he walks her down the steps, or he walks her on a straight path. He's always looking at her feet because her feet are always bouncing. She's never grounded on her feet. Her feet are always shaking. It's almost like she's on shaky ground. She physically is not even capable of standing on her own. She never walks with her shoulders back, head high, feet grounded, without the shifting, without the fidgeting. That's what most of the actors, most of us do when we get up on stage and we're not sure of our greatness. We're not sure of our potential. We know that if we're standing our ground still for a moment in front of the audience, Jessica Chastain does so beautifully for such a long time. I'm sure she had to overcome inner obstacles, mental obstacles, inner fears of thinking, am I good enough to be standing here without any kind of movement, without any support from another person, from another character to hold my hand? But she went through it. She took that challenge. Because as a great actress, you have to take on that challenge and you have to deal with it. You have to try to overcome it. Because in the end, after doing it, you will have found that strength inside of you. Every time you get up and put yourself in a situation that is difficult. So to stand and to be grounded physically on your 2 feet without balancing from one to the other, without shaking, without the other support from Harry, is a very difficult thing to do. So she's not taking that route. Why would she want to take that route to go to the coronation, even though she's probably pulling her hair out, in my opinion? She knows she's missing the opportunity of a lifetime. I mean, just think about it. Just a few years ago, she was just a struggling B-lister in her mind, thinking that she was an actress. She wasn't. She was a struggling B-lister who was trying to get to the level, to the status of A-listers without doing the work. She was doing it by trying to seduce people, by trying to claw her way into different events to be able to rub elbow with the right people who might be able to give her that status. That's not how you get to that status. You get to the status of being a great A-lister actress by putting in the work, by admitting, by looking at yourself in the mirror and admitting the great qualities that you have and the flaws that you have. How combining the two of them, you can overcome the obstacles to reach that place where you can then stand firmly on your 2 feet without the need of anybody to support you while walking or standing, and know that you belong. She knows she doesn't belong to this great traditional old family, the royal family. She knows that, but she is not admitting that to herself. She doesn't have to admit it to the whole world. If she were to admit it to herself, she would not have had a problem to assume the role that she is in, which is already such a huge honor. She's putting that down. Buckingham Palace came out to confirm with the announcement of the Duke of Sussex is going to attend the coronation. The Duchess of Sussex is going to stay back in California with Princess Lilibet and Prince Archie. She already got so much with having not an inch of talent. She got so much. She should be so proud of herself. This should be something that's so positive in her life. She should embrace it. She should be thankful. She should be kind to now say, let me say yes to the invitation of the coronation. Let me go as a strong, independent human being that I want people to think that I am, and deal with what's going to happen when I'm going to show my face in front of the public, in front of the audiences, and deal with it, because I will just come out as a stronger person on the other side of it. She will then have gotten so much more respect from everybody, because she did take that scary journey to see what it's like to have the response of the population and to be received in whatever way she's going to be received there, because she stands with what she has told us their story to be, her story to be, since she met Prince Harry. But she can't do that because she never tells her backstory to be the true backstory. She's always coming up with spins of it to make us understand that she was this celebrity, that she was this A-list actress, amazing actress who came into the royal family and everybody should have bowed down to her, not vice versa. She cannot accept the truth. She cannot accept the reality. There's nothing wrong with the reality. There's nothing wrong with the reality that you were no one. You were just a B-lister, trying to survive, trying to get jobs, never did any work to train yourself in order to get to the next level. Know that self-awareness for an actor will educate that actor how to self-aware as a person. None of the tools of acting were ever being taken upon herself to educate herself. It shows in the person that she is, that she has not done that. So that's why I get really, really a little bit annoyed when I hear that she's being placed as an actress or she's being called an actress, because it takes away from the people who do have to work at being actors. They must work the same as any other profession. You can't say to a surgeon who comes into an operating room and you see him coming with the tools from home, from his kitchen, getting ready to operate. Oh, go ahead, Mr. Doctor. Go ahead, doctor. Let's do the surgery. No, the nurses are going to say, what are you doing? What is going on? You need to use the surgical tools. What's happening? Well, I haven't really learned them. I'm a doctor, so I'm just going to use whatever tools I want to use for my kitchen. I work better with my tools for my kitchen. No, he's not going to be accepted there. He's not going to put the life of the patient at risk because he thinks that he's a doctor, the same way that she thinks that she's an A-lister. Rudeness, but it seems to be working. To be rude in today's world seems to be working. That's what attracts viewers. That's what people want to see. People want to see rude people who don't have any empathy for others, who don't have any kind of grace for others, who don't have any kind of thanks for others, who have put them on a platform, on a stage they would never have gotten without them. Say thank you. Bow, the same way that Jessica Chastain bowed in front of the audience with her right hand placed on her heart, modestly bowed her head. You could feel the reverence that she had towards us, the audience members. Turned around, picked up her chair that she used during the show, picked it up. She didn't say, no, I'm the big actress, Jessica Chastain, I'm not going to pick up my chair. Get somebody, one of the crew, to pick up my chair. Picked it up, turned around, walk off, went backstage. There are different scenarios, there are different moments in one's life, and you have to adjust to those. Or if you don't want to adjust to those and you believe in what you have always said about yourself to be this great, extraordinary, charismatic, talented human being, then believe that, carry that on, and say yes to the coronation. Go stand in that belief. Give yourself the opportunity to see what the response is going to be. Because you might even get a response that you're not even expecting. I think if she would have showed up, people would have responded not as badly as everybody seems to think that they would have responded. When I get up on stage to do something, I know when I put myself on stage before I go on stage of the actor studio to work on a session, I go in with the fear of I'm not good enough. That's the fear that I'm admitting to myself. I think I'm going to finish this and they're going to say it was horrible work. But then I go and I fight through that fear. I fight through it. The fighting through it, the putting myself in front of an audience, even when I'm so scared and I think to myself, why am I doing this? I should have just stayed home. Why did I sign up to do work in session when I know that it could be bad? I will get destroyed with the feedback, and I will come home and I will feel miserable for a week due to the feedback if my working session was not successful. But guess what? I did go through with it. And even from those sessions where I fell flat on my face, I did not do half as much as I wanted to do because I let the fear overtake me rather than work with my fear and overcome it and stand firmly center stage in my own understanding. I might have fears. I might not be sufficient, but I am on the stage of the actor studio. Therefore, I was accepted to be there, auditioned. I merited to be there. I got in. And I will come off of that stage, even if the work was not successful, and will be disappointed, will be upset. That's how we all respond as human beings. I could have done better. I could have done this. Oh, if only I did that. But after a couple of days, after a couple of weeks, after I process what happened, I will have learned something from it, where I can go and say, oh, this is what happened. The moment that I walked in, instead of following what my objective was, the objective of the character, which was to get myself from this place on stage to this place on stage, to reach the imaginary grave of the person that I was visiting, for example. I was more concerned about what the people, the audience, the other members of the actor studio were going to think of me. And that's where she's at. She will never be able to overcome to get to the next point on that stage, because her most concern is how the audience is going to respond, how the public is going to respond. She cannot take being the understudy with her Prince Harry at King Charles' coronation. She wanted to get a statement from them where they were probably going to tell her, guess what? We've reversed the roles. Princess Catherine, Prince William, we're going to put them in the understudy roles, and you and your Prince Harry, independent, charismatic duo, are going to be given the principal roles. Prince William and Princess Catherine will bow to you. Will you come? On top of it, we're going to sing happy birthday to Prince Archie. Titles imagined, not even imagined, because she's not in a fictional story. She's in a real story. So imagination can happen when you are in a fictional story portraying a character. She's using titles in real life situation of the two of them in California, where in America there are no titles. She's giving titles to the children. So she got that. She did get that. Now she's trying to make a choice. I'm not coming to the coronation, which she thinks is putting her on the right side of things. And people are going to see her with respect because she's standing firm with not believing in the monarchy, not believing in the royal rules. But then why is Prince Harry going? Because he was saying the same thing. He was saying that his entire life as a spare to the heir, his brother, was horrible. Why is he putting up with that? Why is he going to bow down? He's going because they still want to maintain that little link, to maintain some sort of a status. Of course, she's going to do something for Archie's birthday. Who's to say that she's not going to crown herself as the queen? She will do that. And she's going to crown her Prince Harry the king, give themselves the principal roles as they've always done of king, queen of Montecito with Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet.